Hey, what's up guys? Welcome into Trainer Talk Tuesday. Real quick video coming up for you, so make sure you got your listening ears on and you are ready to take in this information because it's going to come at you quick, fast, and in a hurry, guys. So hope you're having a great start to your week. Hopefully this Tuesday is treating you right. And if you're in Florida like us, hopefully you're doing your best to keep cool because man, is it hot.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you are wanting to build muscle or tone up, guys, then you need to listen up, and I will say this, I think it should be everybody's goal to build muscle to some extent. Yes, ladies, you included. Toning is just a nice way of saying to put on muscle. So this applies to everyone. There's a huge list of benefits to putting on muscle mass and maintaining it and being able to stay at a healthy weight and just be healthy overall because of it. But we're not going to talk about all those things. We're going to talk about how you can actually put the muscle on. So these are 5 tips to really make sure that you are packing on the muscle. So number 1, if you want to put on muscle, you have to be in a caloric surplus. There's just no way around it. You have to be consuming more than what you are exerting, right? You have to be at a surplus, which means yes, you are going to gain weight while you are putting on muscle. Now, if you're doing it the correct way, the whole idea of this is that you are going to put on muscle and you are going to put on fat. There's no way around it. It's going to happen during this phase. But we want you to put on as much muscle as possible during that time that's realistic while minimizing the amount of fat you're putting on. So yes, you will put on both, but there is a way to go about it where you're not putting on large amounts of fat. Oftentimes people do this in reverse. They might put on a little bit of muscle and they put on a ton of fat, right? We don't want to do that. We're talking about muscle building here, but you do have to eat more calories than what you are exerting throughout the day, right? Surplus. You also have to have a very high protein intake content. I put those 2 words together. So a high protein intake. This is something that is like not up for debate. If you want to put on muscle and do it the right way and not to lose muscle or put on an excess amount of fat, then your protein is going to be like the key component to how the rest of your macros are going to fall in line. And the recommended amount for building muscle is 0.8 to like 1 gram per pound of body weight. So keep that in mind, guys. So for instance, like I weigh, 155 pounds. I am eating 155 grams of protein every day, okay? So I know it's a lot of protein for people. You're probably not getting that in unless you're being intentional about it. So make sure that that's something that you focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to rewind back to the start, so when we talk about the calorie surplus and people putting the weight on in reverse as far as putting more fat on than actual muscle they build, guys, we're still talking about this from a healthy standpoint. You still need to maintain a healthy diet. However, you just need to increase that protein intake primarily of the things that you have on your plate. You can up those carbs as well, but you still want to make sure you're maintaining a nice workout balance. You want to limit the cardio around this time when it comes to what you're doing physically in the gym and focus on a lot more of that weightlifting. And that's something we're going to get to a little bit lower down here on the list. But still, guys, you just don't want to stuff your face with anything. I know there are a lot of different body types out there, and some people can get away with putting on, some people really struggle with putting on weight. So yes, they can kind of gorge on some of those type things and get away with it more so than a lot of the rest of us. But however, primarily for your sake and for our sake, based on what we're saying in this video and our credibility, we want you to do it in the most healthy way possible. So still stick to all the things that you've been doing to better your overall health from the internal view, but just increase those protein intakes and that carb intake at the same time. And you probably also want to increase your meal intake as well. So if you're eating around 3 to 5 meals a day, now you can increase that to around 7 meals per day, maybe even 8, throwing in a later snack in just to get those extra calories in so you can make sure you're in a surplus. You're still going to be burning calories in the gym, but we're going to be doing it from a muscle standpoint. And as I said, we're going to talk about that more so here as you get down the list.
Yeah, no, I think that's important, guys. You should still be eating a whole food diet. You know, everything that we always talk to you guys about, healthy foods. You're just eating more of all those things, right? We're not going through the McDonald's drive-through and trying to put on muscle. That's not the end goal here, because we still want you guys to be healthy while you do this.
Absolutely. And the reason we're going to be certain on saying that is because I have heard of trainers from clients that I've worked with in the past
Just eat anything.
who were told that when they were just trying to gain weight, hey, we're just going to work out hard while you're at the gym, but when you're eating, you just need to get as many calories as possible, so go, have your way with it. No. We're not going to recommend it that way for you. We want you to still maintain proper health, meaning you're still keeping a lower cholesterol, you're still not putting yourself at risk for diabetes and all those things that goes
We're not
into
putting
that.
on fats.
And we're not putting on an excessive amount of fat, making your heart have to work a lot more than it needs to be able to pump blood throughout your body to keep you up and being at a good healthy standpoint. So guys, healthy, increase that protein intake, make sure you're getting more calories in that area in particular, carbs as well.
Fat, fiber, all
fat,
that
fiber,
calories.
so on and so on. But that's what we mean when we say caloric surplus, not just go through the drive-through or, eat 12 TV dinners or however anybody feels they're going to do it, because now you probably got it in your mind, I can eat anything now, I'm trying to gain weight. There's still a proper way to do it.
Yep. And number 2, we're going to get very briefly into the workout portion here, which ultimately you want to practice compound and isolation movements during this time. So compound movements, compound exercises, these are exercises that are typically going to be your fundamentals, okay? You really want to focus on the fundamental lifts while you're trying to build muscle and get good at those things. Compound movements use multiple muscle groups at one time, all right? So a lot's going on, a lot of muscles are being recruited at once, whereas isolation is more isolated, right? It's more focused on like 1 or 2 muscle fibers within the same area, right? It's very, very precise. These are both beneficial to add into your routine. Although the bulk should be compound, it is beneficial to add some isolation movements in there. And I think that you'll find with like trial and error, you'll learn your body type and what it does best with. There are some people who can just do compound movements and get really good at those lifts. We're talking like, squat, barbell back squats, deadlifts, things like that, cleans. When you get good at these movements, there are people, and just because of their genetic makeup and, how their build is, they can get big biceps and triceps from doing those lifts, but there's other people who can't. And they need isolation movements to really kind of focus in on those areas. So that's going to kind of be a trial and error for you to kind of see what works best for your body. Definitely 100% do the compound movements, more so than the isolation. Don't do bicep curls every single day and like nothing else, guys. Make sure you're getting those lifts in. And I will say this isn't like a, all or nothing rule here, but I have personally noticed that typically people who have shorter arms and legs, or they're like more, even throughout their body, they can do compound movements and, still have nice biceps, or still have nice triceps. But people with longer limbs typically need to focus on the isolation. So keep that in mind. That may apply to you. It may not. Again, try it out for your own body, but it's something to kind of base your decision off of.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, excuse the yawning. You probably see me yawning a lot over here. I've been up all day, pretty much. We got a kindergartner starting school tomorrow, and we've been trying to get this little guy ready and everything that we need to do to make sure he has a great first experience in school. So I'm a little worn out from that. I'm looking forward to doing some kickback once we finish giving you these tips. However, when it comes to practicing compound movements, isolation movements, Go back to what I said there when I talked about your workout aspect, where you want to limit that cardio to a degree so that you're not doing an obsessive amount of that work. And you're going to get a little bit of that too if you're doing too many of the compound movements. So isolation, slow, steady, really breaking the muscle down, a lot of repetitions. And then also, let me go ahead and tip into number 3 here. You want to be lifting some heavy weight as well, guys. So we're talking anywhere from 6 to 12 repetitions, really breaking that muscle down, pushing through that fatigue. So that way when that muscle goes to regenerate and rebuild itself, you're at a caloric surplus. So now your body has a lot more protein and everything to pull from to help that muscle get bigger, help you gain more muscle mass throughout the body so that you're able to gain that weight in the proper way that we're even doing this video for. So guys, perfect breakdown from Larissa when we talk about what we were doing there in number 2 with the compound movements and isolation movements, but also put some weight on that bar. Don't be afraid of it. You're going to get stronger at the same time you're putting on muscle. It's all a part of the process. And ladies, like we mentioned, it is just fine. You're not going to look like,
ladies.
You're not going to look like, some of the guys that you see around the gym, or even some of the women you see around the gym. That takes a tremendous amount of commitment, discipline, and
extra help.
Yep, and extra help, guys. So that's not going to be you. You can go out and do everything we're talking about and be just fine and get just where you need to be in the proper way.
Absolutely. So that 6 to 12 rep range is just a general guideline. This is typically the rep range for hypertrophy, which is muscle, growth. And you want to not just do these reps, 10 reps, okay, that falls in that, general rep range, right? Let's say you're doing 10 reps of a movement and you just do 10 reps and you're like, okay, that's cool because it falls into the range that you told me to do. No, guys, you gotta be challenging yourself and doing progressive overload, which basically means that the stronger you get, the heavier you're going to lift, all right? You're gonna keep challenging your body and putting it under that type of stress, but you need to be going to muscle failure in this rep range. Okay, so if you're lifting a weight and you can do 12 reps and it's super easy and maybe you can even do more, you're not in the correct rep range to really get the results that we're looking for. Can you do higher reps and still put on muscle? Yes. Could you do lower reps and still put on muscle? Absolutely. But this range is really kind of like that sweet spot. So we want to really focus on going to muscle failure somewhere within that rep range. And again, this is going to be something that you learn about your own body. Maybe you put on the most muscle mass when you're working to failure at like around 8 reps, whereas someone else might be on that higher end. Maybe they're pushing 12, 13 even. This is going to be something that you have to pay attention to and learn about your body because everybody's different, but this is a good, very accurate range that people are going to fall into. So lift heavy, go to muscle failure, and challenge yourself. All right, that's what it comes down to. You need to challenge yourself. You need to make it more difficult every single time, where your body is always trying to adapt to that new load.
All right, nothing more to be said there, guys. All in all, what that breaks down to is, what do I always say? Get comfortable being uncomfortable. It's still a part of the process. You got to push yourself to get better. It's not going to happen overnight. So, guys, you got to work hard. Just push yourself through. Number 4 here, we're going to talk about one of the most important, but probably most slept on aspect of being healthy and meeting any goal. And that's going to be your sleep, recovery time, allowing your body to actually heal itself naturally throughout everything that you're doing to it, the amount of food you're eating, the way you're working out and breaking down muscle throughout your workouts, the way you are dealing with stress on a regular daily basis. That is something else that can be, kind of be swept under the rug and going off the radar. These things are going to be critically important to your amount of success, even here when we're talking about building muscle in the body, because you're going to need your body to actually recover. Go back to number 3 when we talk about breaking that muscle down and really getting a good workout in before that muscle regenerates. Well, that muscle is going to be regenerating while you're sleeping, while your body is in a rested state. You just think of it. When you're sick, when you're ill, you're not feeling well, what is it that you want to do more so than anything in the world? You want to sleep. You want to rest. That's your body's natural way of healing itself. That's why you feel that way. That's why you have those emotions in the body, and that's why you know, your body is trying to get as much rest as possible. So same thing here, when you're working out and you're pushing yourself and you're trying to get to a new level, you're trying to actually meet your goals, you're gonna need some recovery time. You're gonna actually need to give your body some rest. Sometimes taking a couple days off or even a week off and then jumping back into it when you've been going really hard. You'll see that you can actually improve on your lifts in that way as well, because now your body's properly recovered and you can go in with the maximum amount of strength that you actually have to give throughout your workouts versus going in already slightly burnt out and fatigued.
And I'll say this for you people at home who, you know, may have never done this before. What Nate is saying is true, but you gotta earn that. Okay, like you taking a week off every 2 or 3 weeks is not gonna get you the results you're looking for, so don't take that and turn it into something that we didn't mean. Yes, listen to your body. Yes, sleep and recover, but really active recovery is going to be key here. When we talk about taking a week off or something, that's when you've been training, you know, for years.
Yeah,
Let's be honest,
it's funny too, because I threw that in there and that was kind of a side point. I was just saying in general, from folks that are working out, and I was just saying like that's a way that you can actually see improvement. Like when people are overtraining and they're going so hard every day, and then they take a little time off and come back. I even saw this with myself before. Oh man, I actually feel better. I actually feel stronger in the gym now because my body is now properly recovered. But when you're dealing with things that's live on the internet, as you come to see, you got to be very, very particular about what you say, because there's always going to be that one person in a comment, and maybe you guys know who you are, that's going to say something that's not exactly
Nate
what
said I
we
could
mean.
take a week off of working out today, and I only worked out for the first time yesterday.
Exactly. So
That's not what we're saying, guys.
but I guess number 5 is going to top that. I don't know if you got anything else you
Well,
want
I
to
was going to say
elaborate on. Number 4.
everything that we're saying right now basically goes to like naturally manipulating your hormones. All right, to benefit you, all these things are going to trigger a hormonal response, and it's going to get your body working in your favor instead of against you. A lot of people have hormonal issues these days, hormonal imbalances, and that goes to the food that we're eating, environmental factors, the rest, the recovery that we're talking about, and then also like lack of exercise. All these things are super important to maintaining healthy hormone levels, and you cannot put on muscle if your hormones are not balanced. So we're trying to do that naturally, right? We're trying to put these things in place so your body can start triggering a hormonal response to give you the results that you're looking for. So that's really what this all boils down to, okay? That's what that means. And we touched base on this very slightly, but number 5, you gotta be consistent, all right? Just like Nate said, you might look at someone and you see their physique and you could think, oh, I really wanna look like that. Or you might look at them and say, well, I don't wanna be that muscular. Well, you won't be if you're not consistent. You gotta realize these people have been doing everything that we've been telling you and more for years, and they've been pushing their bodies to that limit. So if you don't have that type of work ethic or mentality, you won't get there. It's not possible. And then of course also, some people may be taking some extra hormones or be doing things in that way to benefit them in that area. So ladies, this goes back to what we talked to before, you are never going to get too big. You're never going to get too muscular unless you are taking something for your hormones to do that, because our hormones are not the same as male hormones. We do not have enough testosterone to kind of demand that type of look unless you are, again, taking something to manipulate your hormones. So keep that in mind. I see that issue with a lot of women. They don't want to lift heavy. They don't want to do all these things we're talking about because they're afraid that they're going to get too big and too bulky, and it's just not possible. I mean, there's such a small percentage of women who have higher testosterone levels naturally. It's just not something to be concerned about. So again, keep that in mind, and that also goes back to what we're talking about now, being consistent. Because regardless of what you want to look like or don't look like, it will never come to be if you are not consistent doing these things. And we are talking a lifelong change. Okay, we're not even talking about a year. Yes, can you see amazing results in a year? Of course. But if you have 75 pounds to lose, you're not going to look like a fitness model in a year. It's not going to happen. We gotta be realistic, and we need to be consistent with what we're doing. This is, you're in it for the long haul. This is a lifestyle change.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. You tell me one thing in life that you can be successful in that doesn't require a certain level of consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So just like all things, no matter if it's in your work life, it's in your relationships, it's in your faith, no matter what it can be, it's going to require a certain level of consistency for you to see the results or for it to have the impact that you want it to have. So guys, all in all, tips on building muscles. Again, real quick run through. You want to make sure you're in a caloric surplus, meaning that you're getting in more calories than you're actually burning in the gym. You want to up those higher protein intakes and so on. That is going to be the main staple you want to focus on. Number 2, you're practicing your compound movements and isolation movements, guys. You want to make sure that you're really breaking down the muscle. You're really working on a lot of those fundamental moves so every part of your body is getting a proper amount of work. You're not having any imbalances in. You're getting the bicep work, the tricep work, the chest, the back, the shoulders, everything all together. Number 3, you want to make sure that with those workouts, you're getting some heavy lifts in. You're actually really breaking down muscle. You're actually getting stronger. You're doing things that's actually going to increase your level of strength and how much weight you can lift in the gym. Number 4, you want to make sure that with doing those things that you're getting proper recovery time. You're sleeping, you're getting that recommended 8 hours of sleep each night, allowing your body to actually rest and heal itself. And then number 5, you're consistent throughout that entire process.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. 5 tips on building muscle. Go ahead and let us know if you are willing to incorporate all 5 of these into your routine so you can start reaching your goals.
All right, guys, and that's all we have for you today. As always, never give up.
Never lose hope.
And
never settle.
All right, folks, we love you. Thanks for listening. Drop a like on this video and a share, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.